Grace and peace, family. Grace and peace. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. My hotel. Namaste. Free the land, beloved. Come on in, come on in, come on in. We are so pleased that you are with us today, beloved. I am looking forward to our conversation today. I'm telling you, I never cease to be amazed, Black family, with the goings on of the world. Are y'all hearing me today? I never cease to be amazed. And so let me just get on to it. We're not going to even waste any time. We're going to be talking about an Asian immigrant podcaster made some very salacious, disrespectful statements concerning us. And so one of the things that he said is that Blacks, and specifically those that are a part of the protests and stuff, Black Lives Matter and so forth. And of course, you all know that I don't subscribe to that official organization, but I subscribe to the mantra and the reality that Black lives do matter. But he feels like that Blacks feel like we're owed something. That's his words. So Chung Lee feels like we're owed something. We don't have to get into crazy, name calling and that kind of stuff. The Vicki show, the whole family here is always very respectful. But we're going to have to take him to school today. We're going to have to give him some for real work as a mercy. Somebody talk Black to me. But a little bit of housekeeping before we get ready to get into it. Just want you to know that the opinions that are expressed on this podcast, on this show, on this network, and our affiliates are not necessarily those of the network or our affiliates, but they are my own, Vicki Dillard. I am so pleased that you all are with us today. As you come in, please come in giving us a thumbs up. Be sure to like, be sure to share. If you're watching us on FlyToBeingQueenTV.com or YouTube. If you happen to be watching us on one of our other several channels or affiliates, please make sure that you like, that you share, and that you subscribe. Would you do that, Black family? I'm so excited because tonight I'm conducting again my mastermind class. All information is at clubvicki.com. I'll be there to drop another jewel. Each week I drop one major spiritual jewel, and then you all ask questions about that. So it's been great. So I'm going to get right on into our topic today so that I can get my medical stuff together before then. Shout out to you, Silent D Production, Shalina, Naturally. I bless your gifts 1,000-fold. Thank you so much for supporting Black media. By the way, family, I'm drinking my mug from that I got at our store at shopfnq.com. That's shopfnq.com. Shopfnq.com. Shout out to you. Got a Black goddess. Oh, I like that. You're $50. I bless your gift 1,000-fold. And you too, Darlene X. Got a Black goddess says electrifying and beautiful. School is funny looking stuff. Oh, thank you, beloved. I pray that I'm a reflection, beloved, of you. I say that to my dear Fly Nubian sisters, family. Let's get ready to get on into it. This is not a long class today. It's not going to take us a whole lot of time to be doing stuff anymore. And I'll tell you why here in just a moment. Again, family, thumbs up. Be sure to like, be sure to share. Now, let me say something to you. The Black man and the Black woman, as you know, we're the original. We're the mothers and fathers of civilization. I never cease to remind you of that because my show is about giving you also empowerment, to give you power, an inner power. Are y'all hearing me today? This is important. And a part of that empowerment comes with knowing who you are. And so the fact that this is our planet and we've been so gracious to share it with our children, the other people groups, we're pleased to do that. We're so gracious and kind. It's the way things are meant to be. And we don't have any problems doing that. But we have to have a come to Black Jesus meeting from time to time, because some of you all act like you've lost your minds and stuff. You fail to keep the spiritual axiom that says honor your mothers and fathers, so that your days are long on our planet. So you go disrespecting us, and you kind of go to, smelling yourself. I'm from Mississippi, and that's what they would say. Hold on, family, let me clear this. I'm from Mississippi. And it's a statement that they would tell you when you start getting so arrogant, like you know everything, and you starting to be disrespectful and this, that, and the third, you start smelling yourself and stuff. But I don't want to, without further ado, let me just let you listen to some of this after I read you this disclaimer, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So this, some time back, to believe it or not, was circulating on social media and stuff, right? Let me get ready to cue it.
Session on the whole Black
life. Give me just a moment. So it's just amazing to me as I'm getting this together. It's amazing to me that we built this country. We're the ones that made this notion of an American dream, which we've never experienced before. The glory of that American dream. Black folks don't know nothing about no American dreams. Foundational Black Americans, descendants of American slaves, we don't know nothing about no American dream. What we do know, however, we're all too familiar with the American nightmare. Everybody else, God today, I said everybody else knows a little something about this American dream. But your American dream is a reality because of the Black blood that we shed and because of the Black nightmare. Somebody talk Black to me. So Black family, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has told us this. You've heard this from some of your other Black scholars, teachers, elders, and ancestors, that we don't have any friends. We are a global punching bag and the object of global derision. Shout out to you, Erica. Shout out to your deputy friend who you say is getting so much insight from our videos. Thank you for the work that you're doing, beloved. We're the global object of derision, family. Openly disrespecting us. But they do it because they see everybody else does it. They do it because Black folk in America have been made other than ourselves to the point where when we're disrespected, when we're murdered, when we're raped, when we're disenfranchised, we don't impose any penalties. We don't rise up sufficiently enough in a punitive fashion where we impose a punishment. So everybody feels like it's a free-for-all. and that we're their punching bags. I do hope you know. I hope it is abundantly clear, especially during this holy uprising 2020 that we're no doubt still in. It's a new day. And that is absolutely and totally unacceptable. Shout out to you, Romel, for your gift. I bless it 1,000-fold. Nubian Greens rock. You rock, sister. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. You're so welcome. It's a new day. Now, while I'm cueing this, I was reminded of a post that I saw the other day, and I'm going to share it, inshallah, on my Instagram page pretty soon. And one of a quote that I saw, and y'all think about this. Think about this. This quote says, "Don't fear me." And this is how I live, y'all. This quote says, "Don't fear me when I'm screaming. Fear me when I'm silent." I'm going to need y'all to just drink that in real quick. I'm going to do my best not to sling these curly braids all around the globe. Shifting the axis, God, today. Y'all better listen to me. Don't fear me when I'm screaming. Fear me when I'm silent. Oh, I live like that. Why am I saying that? Whoa. And this is not bashing immigrants and stuff. We respect people from around the world and stuff. What we don't respect is you coming here thinking that you're getting ready to lecture black people. What we don't expect and what we won't accept is those of us that made a whole new world where the whole wide world has been the benefactor of. You don't get to tell us nothing. Somebody put in the chat uncheckable. See, some of you all are new to Vicki. Some of you all are new to the Vicki show and the Fly Nubian Queen TV family. But we have a saying around these parts. Somebody say around these parts. We have a saying around these parts, and we want to familiarize you with this saying. Uncheckable. We who have shed blood, we, the survivors of the Black Holocaust, we who are the inventors and the makers of America and the world, you don't get to tell us nothing. Uncheckable. You don't get to give suggestions. If I was you, I would, except for it about it being about a bag or something. Other than that, you don't get to say nothing. Your analysis isn't needed. And I know that's a shocker to you Karens and you Kens today. Because your opinion used to matter. What you thought used to matter. It's a shocker to you that everybody isn't a bone and biscuit around these pieces. I'm going to need some bones out in the chat. Getting ready to give you a new nickname. Your name getting ready to be the other day. Your new moniker is yesterday. Somebody talk to me. It's for y'all today, for you bones and biscuits. We're not all this. And again, these are not regular bones here. Shoot. This is all natural. Y'all see that? All natural dog treat. We don't give out just any kind of bones. That's your new name. Yesterday. The other day. The reason your name is yesterday, because that's when your opinion used to matter. It's a new day, baby. And we who are free-thinking Black people, we're not even worried about wondering about what you're thinking about stuff. And I know that's getting under some of y'all's skins, because you all know that the way white supremacy works is first through the mind, which is why you tampered with images, deities, the divine, specifically Jesus, to make him in your image and likeness, to program us to see you as holy and divine, but it's a new day yesterday. Somebody say your name is yesterday. Yesterday. I'm not even going to call you, but the other day. Vicki, get on with it. Why did I bring up that quote? Don't fear me when I'm screaming. Fear me when I'm silent. Because the fact that I'm even giving this explanation, let me show you this guy. To this fella, this is what I posted on my Instagram page. By the way, you can follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. Follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. Y'all see that? That's the fella. This fella, the fact that I'm giving you this explanation even, and matter of fact, let me just go ahead, invite some of our friends on over to Fly Nubian Queen. Would you let me just do that real quick to my Instagram family? While I'm doing that, Black family, on the count of 3, for those of you that haven't, it's giving me some connection problems. On the count of 3, for those of you that haven't, on the count of 3, for those of you that haven't, please hit the thumbs up button. Are you ready? On the count of 3, hit that thumbs up button. 1, 2, 3, thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thank you so very much. Try one more time and see if it's going to let me connect with them. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. It's not letting me do it. By the way, family, you can follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. You can follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. And if you're watching us on one of our other platforms, just be sure to follow and share. Be sure to follow, and share. Now watch this. So I was just disgusted when I was listening to this, Asian, obviously, ostensibly Asian immigrant podcast. And again, we don't have any problems with immigrants. But what we have a problem with is you coming over here being disrespectful to us. If the shoe doesn't fit, then don't wear it. Quit trying to force it on there. But we got to set some things in order because this is getting out of control.
Discussion on the whole Black Lives Matter movement and give you my thoughts on this. I've done some thinking about this and I've come to the conclusion that this isn't about logic. It's not about equality. It's not about a debate. People don't really want a rational discussion. Nobody's out there really discussing any of the issues. People are just out there fueled on emotion, rage, general discontent, frustration at society. And a lot of people I think out there are desperate at a time like this, either because the economy is pretty trash right now, people are losing their jobs, or they're just going stir crazy from being cooped up at home all the time. And people want stuff. People want privilege. And that's really the only means of survival that they have. And you just start blaming other people for your position. And you just take on the victim mentality, the victim mindset. And you start saying, it's because I was born in this way. It's because you're being racist against me. It's because people are not being fair to me. And you just start blaming everybody else out there and saying, the world owes me something. Because if you think about it, really, there are so many other minorities out there that have been discriminated against.
He's saying a whole lot right now. I mean, I'm getting thrown, y'all. It's a lot. And he ain't even done yet. And it's only a 2-minute video. 2-minute clip. So Chung Lee is sitting here trying to check the uncheckable. Somebody better tell him. I got to give y'all play too much. The fact that we're giving him this explanation, let me help y'all understand something. Black folks are not about to keep giving y'all disclaimers and stipulations. We're not getting ready to keep giving you free history classes. I'm going to do this a couple, 3 more times for y'all. It's a mercy that I'm giving you this class, Chung Lee. It's a mercy. Because we're getting ready to go silent on y'all. The people that America lets into this country country tends to be what they call some of the most intelligent and the best from those societies. Engineers, doctors. So you ain't stupid. You know the history of America. You play stupid. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. You play stupid in order to rationalize and to reason. Watch, wait a minute. You're trying to reason and justify coming over here to enjoy what you know are bloody black spoils. You know everything else. The Star Spangled Banner, the Pledge of Allegiance. You can recite the Constitution. You know all the details about the Declaration of Independence. You know about these pilgrims and stuff. But you gonna play dumb when it comes to us. That's how you survive in the country, to experience the American dream based off of the black nightmare. So all this chatter that you're doing is just so that you can reason and rationalize you enjoying theft, the spoils of unjust gains. You're trying to justify black exploitation. Now let's go back to all this madness. And again, family, I'm going to be very quick today because I got to get ready for my mastermind class. Don't forget.
Right. For example, Middle East.
Excuse me. Don't forget to sign up for the mastermind class at clubvicki.com. It's again today, clubvicki.com, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'm so excited, family. Thumbs up, keep liking and sharing, would you? Watch this. So keep listening to him.
Position, and you just take on the victim mentality, the victim mindset, and you start saying, it's because I was born.
Hold on,
discussing any of the issues. People.
Let's start this over, y'all, because I can't do this 2 and 3 times like I was hoping to do, because it's too much. He doing too much.
On the whole Black Lives Matter movement and give you my thoughts on this. I've done some thinking about this, and I've come to the conclusion. That's
the first mistake. You're trying to do some thinking. That's a catastrophe. When you go to doing thinking, that's what he told black to me. All of us are in danger now. Mr. Lee, all of us are in danger. That's the first mistake. It's about I've been doing some thinking, and then you proceed to talk. Who asked? Did anybody ask? Who asked you? You white supremacists come in all shapes and forms. Sitting up there talking about, I've been doing some thinking. Listen.
Logic. Discussion on the whole Black Lives Matter movement and give you my thoughts on this. I've done some thinking about this, and I've come to the conclusion that...
We want you to take your thoughts back. Keep your thoughts to yourself. Nobody asked you.
This isn't about logic. It's not about equality. It's not about a debate. People don't really want a rational discussion. Nobody's out there really discussing it.
Do you hear this fool? He said, it's not about, what did he say? Nobody's wanting a debate. It's not about, nobody's being rational.
It's not about equality. It's not about a debate. People don't really want a rational discussion. Nobody's out there really discussing any of the issues. People are just out there fueled on emotion, rage, general discontent, frustration at some...
Emotion, rage, general discontent. Where did this? You better hold your own wontons and mind your own business. You about to get your soy sauce. You focus on your condiments. You focus on your own condiments while you all up in here disrespecting black people. I am tired of y'all treating us like a free-for-all when you got too much going on in your community. America disrespected you for 5 minutes. You would think that would be enough. But because they've made you their honorary white supremacists, you done join in to become a collaborator in anti-black racism. Somebody put in the chat hashtag no anti-black racism. I'm getting warm up in here. They're trying to be disrespectful to you, but you're not getting ready to be disrespectful to us. You're not our teacher. We're teaching you. You better go sit down and learn something. family. Thumbs up.
Society. And a lot of people I think out there are desperate at a time like this, either because the economy is pretty trash right now, people are losing their jobs, or they're just going stir crazy from being cooped up at home all the time. And people want stuff. People want privilege. And that's really...
He said people want stuff. People want privilege. What did he start it off? He was talking about the black protesters, y'all. He said people want stuff. People want privilege. That's where he's got it wrong. I don't want privilege. I want everything. Wait, I think y'all might have missed that. Y'all better tell him. I do not want privilege. I want everything. And if you don't understand why I'm saying that, you may want to get my show from yesterday, where I gave you some details and reminded you about America, how she was built, not just generalities, but I gave you specifics yesterday. But this outsider comes in to teach us. Did y'all hear what I said? This outsider comes in to teach us.
Means of survival that they have. And you just start blaming other people for your position. And you just take on the victim mentality, the victim mindset. And you start saying, it's because I was born in this way. It's because you're being racist against me. It's because people are not being fair to me. And you just start blaming everybody else out there and saying, the world owes me something.
Did you hear what this fool said? Did you hear what Mr. Lee said? He says, I'm afraid that you might have missed it.
Right. For example, Middle East, Black, Native Americans. And that's really the only means of survival that they have. And you just start blaming other people for your position. And you just take on the victim mentality, the victim mindset. And you start saying, it's because I was born in this way. It's because you're being racist against me. It's because people are not being fair to me. And you just start blaming everybody else out there and saying, the world owes me something.
Somebody talk black to me. Say, yes, the world does owe us something. Somebody please put in the chat. Cut the chat. Mr. Lee has the nerve to say that we just want privilege. He says that we start blaming everybody for racism. All of that's true. And he says that you start to think that people owe you something. Isn't that what he said, family? Isn't that what he said?
Means of survival that they have. And you just start blaming other people for your position. And you just take on the victim mentality, the victim mindset. And you start saying, it's because I was born in this way. It's
yes.
because you're being racist
That's
against
right.
me. It's
yes.
because people are not being fair to me. And
yes.
you just start blaming everybody else out there and saying, the world owes me something.
Yes, the world owes us everything. Somebody say, cut the check. You guys owe us trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. You owe us everything. When he just said, you started to say that we're not doing this because of racism, because of prejudice, because of this. Yes, to all of that. Yes. We don't have a victim mentality because we are demanding action. When you are trying to present your complaint in a court, you've got to talk about the damage that was done, fool. And seeing that black people haven't been made whole after 465 years. We're going to keep talking about it. And in about 5 minutes, we're not going to be talking no more. I've been hearing word on the street that black folks is getting ready to get silent. It's a mercy that we're talking to you today. It's a mercy that we're explaining this stuff to you today. Your arrogant self. Listen.
Because if you think about it, really, there are so many other minorities out there that have been discriminated against, right? For example, Middle Eastern people,
look at this funny looking
Native
self.
Americans. they're probably being discriminated even more so than Black people. In fact, if you take a look at Black people,
he said Middle Eastern people have probably been discriminated more than us Black family. Do y'all see the propaganda? Y'all are probably wondering, wait a minute. Why is it that all of a sudden Congress is trying to disrespect our demands for reparations? Mainstream media outlets, white outlets are disrespecting us. People are popping up. Where is this funny looking dude coming from? That looks that's a man of color. Family, this is not by accident. They are strategically placing these folks out there to distill our justice claims. This is an attempt to get us, y'all listen, please. This is an attempt to get us to relax our standards and our demands. This is yet another honorary white supremacist put before our face to say, everybody has experienced oppression equally. Everybody's been through something, Black folk. You guys are the only ones that can't just get it together. And so you know why the Vicki Show exists, don't you? I will not stop talking about these things until we're made whole, until we are seated on our throne and dominating in every area of people activity sufficiently. This is what you call propaganda. This funny looking fellow knows better. But they're putting the likes of him out there to force us to try to relax our standards. Are y'all hearing me today? Family, keep liking and sharing. Thumbs up, keep liking and sharing. Listen.
they have it pretty good when you consider we've had a Black president. In the NBA, it's all Black people. We have these movies like discriminated even.
Y'all, I think y'all are missing this. This run deep in some of them. The disdain. And that's the reason why we're getting ready to deal with y'all differently nowadays. We're getting ready to deal real different. Listen, as you keep thumbs up, liking, and sharing.
Americans, they're probably being discriminated even more so than Black people. In fact, if you take a look at Black people, they have it pretty good when you consider so many other minorities out there that have been discriminated against, right? For example, Middle Eastern people, Native Americans, they're probably being discriminated even more so than Black people. In fact, if you take a look at Black people, they have it pretty good when you consider we've had a Black president. In the NBA, it's all Black people. We have these huge blockbuster movies like Black Panther, which are entirely Black cast of people.
Do you hear this Wally Walnut? He said, Black people, you got it pretty good. He said, there's some other minorities, he said, that have experienced worse oppression than you guys. He said, you had a Black president. That's your reparation. Remember I told you that Mitch McConnell alluded to that last year? He said, for God's sake, y'all can play basketball. A couple of y'all are movie stars. You guys got it pretty good. Heck, you complaining about? After he was totally disrespectful and condescending in the beginning, saying that this is not about injustice. He's trying to lecture us. He's not done. We're almost there, though, family. Keep listening.
You've got Black people represented in movies, music. Almost every single big Hollywood movie has several Black people in there. And then when you take a look at, well, where are the Asian people in these places? Where are the Native Americans, Indians, Middle Eastern, Italians, Filipinos, and all the other types of people who compose up of America? Where are
they? Let's answer that question for him. They're not. None of them. They're not one of those groups he mentioned. were forced to come to this country. Every one of them wanted to be here. None of those other groups that you feel needs to, that's not getting enough play for you, have experienced 465 years worth of hell. Somebody say hashtag 465. Now, these are things that everybody that's a part of the Vicki Show, we all know this. This is the kind of stuff where we just shrug our shoulders and just say, duh. We know these things already. But this is propaganda, family. Listen. Let me just get through it.
And I know that you can say, well, Black people have been slavery in the US. Well, you take a look at these other races, like take a look at Japanese people. They were war prisoners in the US. They have probably been treated even worse. And some of these...
Did you hear this fool? This lying dog? This chihuahua? With all due respect. He said that the Japanese in America had it worse than us. Do you see these liars, y'all? Do you see these open enemies of Black people? I have zero tolerance for that. And if these are your brethren and your sistren, y'all better put them in check quick, fast, and in a hurry. Because we're no longer going to give you a pass. We're not going to let you say these things and you not be put in check. Watch this.
Other countries, they have their own histories in which these immigrants who are now part of the US, those people suffered too. I believe that every generation should start fresh, right? I don't want my children to have to pay for the crimes of my aunt.
Y'all hear that? Just start fresh. In other words, Black people. Yes, hundreds of years of hell, bloodshed, rape, murder, sodomy, disenfranchisement, trauma, destruction, sharecropping, convict leasing, Jim Crow, new Jim Crow, fought in all our wars, benign neglect policies, war on drugs. Forget all that, is what he's telling us. Get over it, is what they're telling us, y'all. And he invokes the Japanese who were temporarily put in internment camps here in the United States of America. He remember in the beginning, don't forget what he said in the beginning. What did he say in the beginning? He said that we just wanted privilege. Did y'all remember him saying that? He said you want privilege. He said you feel like you're owed something. This fella is trying to lecture us. Keep listening. We're almost done. Thank God.
That was the past, let it be. And you can't really just go back and say, hey, remember 50 years ago, 100 years ago, this thing happened? Well, now I want your children to pay for that, which happened to my grandfather.
Did y'all hear that? This is what they're trying to instill in our minds, and we're rejecting it. They want us to feel guilty because Black folks are so used to being emotional that used to work, but it's not going to work anymore. We're unapologetic nowadays. We're uncompromising. And we know that's a trick. I don't ever want to disrespect a struggle or a trial that someone else has gone through. But baby, I just don't have time to get into all that. I don't have time to address your paper cut, baby, in the emergency room when we got heart attacks and strokes and we're amputating legs over this way. Not getting ready, baby. You better get you some Skittles. You might want to get you some Skittles, baby. Something to drink. Television is on over there in the waiting room, in the ER. It's going to be a long night. Some blankets too. Let us know if you need some blankets. Nobody's getting ready to even be talking. We're not even going to be discussing your headache today. Over a stroke, baby, we're not getting ready to discuss that today. And we certainly aren't going to let some outsider who's an honorary white supremacist and an off-brand one at that lecture us. But since you mentioned we're trying to get something because we think we're owed something, let me remind this little podcaster of something. First of all, when you guys come to the country, somebody say our country, that we built for your enjoyment. When you come to our country, watch this. You produce the likes of a Daniel Halsclaw. I've discussed him many times. How many of you all know and are familiar with Daniel Halsclaw? How many of you all are familiar with this rapist, this serial rapist? Let me show you. That's Daniel Halsclaw. How many of y'all remember him a few years ago? Wasn't that long ago? Out of Oklahoma. Do y'all remember that? Let's go ahead and school this little Asian podcaster that's disrespecting Black people. Put in the chat, no anti-Black racism. Watch this. I'm not going to be here all day with this. Watch this. It's a piece. Quick little excerpt here from kcet.org. Shout out to all of you that are in the digital building. We're so pleased that you're with us today. Make sure that you keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you so much. Listen. A former city police officer is facing life in prison for the serial rapes of African American women. Not women of color, not women, but Black women. A jury convicted him of rape and other crimes against 8 of the 13 women who accused him. All 13 victims testified during the trial, each with similar stories of rape, sexual assault, and threats if they did not comply with Halsclaw's demands. For those of you that don't know, he was a police officer. Halsclaw targeted them. I said Halsclaw targeted them during traffic stops and interrogations, forcing them into sexual acts in his police car or in their homes. Prosecutors say he deliberately prayed, y'all listen, son of an immigrant here, one of his parents. Prosecutors say he deliberately preyed on vulnerable Black women in low-income neighborhoods. Prosecutors say he deliberately preyed on vulnerable Black women in low-income neighborhoods. He was reportedly under investigation by the Oklahoma City Police Sex Crimes Unit 6 weeks before his final crime. So even when he was under investigation, y'all, he was so emboldened in his specific and direct targeting of only Black women was under investigation by the Oklahoma City Police Sex Crimes Unit for 6 weeks before his final crime. That means Halsclaw assaulted half of the women he was convicted of attacking while under investigation. That's what y'all come over here and do to Black women, to Black people. It says that while his conviction, it says the means Hawksclaw assaulted, while Hawksclaw's conviction may bring his victim some relief, the case has raised questions about whether it's a part of a wider problem of devaluing African-American lives, in this case, African-American women. Despite the charges and ultimate convictions of serial rape, the Hawksclaw prosecution got far less corporate media attention than other criminal trials. One instance, and I've shared this with you before, of the many Black women, these are the ones that we know about, at least 13. Some of the women were behind bars. And so the jury in some of those cases, they just decided they weren't going to even listen to so much or believe or convict on those against the women that were actually locked up. In one case, if I remember correctly, the sister was handcuffed to a gurney, a hospital bed. And I think she was instructed to give him oral sex. In another instance, he raped a Black grandmother, sexually assaulted a Black grandmother on the side of a road. In another instance, he went to a sister's house. Her man was there. Daniel Hawksclaw told the brother to get out. The brother left the sister there, and she was raped. That's not all. Where this Asian fella is sitting here trying to lecture Black people. Y'all listen, I just got to remind you of a few things. Some of you that are familiar with the Vicki Show, you should be aware of some of this stuff. How many of you all remember our dear sister, Latasha Harlings? I said, how many of you remember our dear sister, Latasha Harlings? Family, don't forget, we have a business school at flynubianbusiness.com. If you want to learn how to build a Black business or start your side hustle, be sure to check out flynubianbusiness.com. How many of you all do? Okay, some of you all saying you do. Some of you say that you do. Watch this. I like to connect the dots. Look at our beautiful sister. Look at our beautiful young sister there. Right? Look at our beautiful sister there. Watch this. Now, next to our beautiful sister, Latasha Harlings, look at her killer, Korean owner, Soon Ja-do. Look at her killer, I said, Soon Ja-do. That's what some of you Asian immigrants come over here to do, to foundational Black Americans who you are telling only want privilege. We're only complaining. We think we're owed something. How many of you all remember the story of our sister, Latasha Harlings? Listen. This is a piece from the LA Times that draws links that discusses how Latasha Harlings changed South LA long before Black Lives Matter. This was a piece that was written a few years ago, right? Listen, for those of you that don't remember, Latasha was a 15-year-old who was shot in the back of the head. Sometimes we read news and we just move on, but I want y'all to think about that. These funny looking people, these outsiders who we blessed, that want to lecture us and disrespect us. 15-year-old Latasha, y'all listen, was shot in the back of the head by a Korean woman who owned a South Los Angeles liquor store. It says the killing was captured on a grainy security video. It says that her case was overshadowed by another video that surfaced just weeks before, which was what? The Rodney King beating. But it says, but in Los Angeles, Latasha's death had a profound effect in both the Black and Korean communities. It says for Blacks, the killing became a symbol of the danger and indifference faced by African American youths. It says those feelings turned to rage when one woman shot Harling's Soon Jadu, and she avoided jail time. They said that, along with the not guilty verdicts in the Rodney King case, it says became the rallying cry for the LA riots in 1992. This LA Times piece goes on to say, for Korean Americans, the case prompted soul searching and debate about the rocky relationship between Korean immigrants who own liquor stores in Black communities and their customers. The Latasha Harling's incident made it absolutely clear that Korean Americans are not spectators to the unfolding American racial drama, nor bystanders, said Edward J.W. Park, an Asian American studies professor. Listen to what he said. Listen to what this Asian professor said. He says they weren't what? He says they weren't spectators. They weren't bystanders. They're, quote, they were now intimately and inextricably implicated. Those are just a couple of things that I wanted to throw out there. But you brought up the point, sir, that we feel like we're owed something. Is that right, family? He said we feel like we're owed something. We are owed something. Watch this. Watch this. He mentioned that there are other minorities, he said, that had it worse than us. Y'all know I'm going somewhere, right? He says there were other immigrants that had it worse than us. Do you know who that picture is there? What this is a picture of here, Black family? Watch this, watch this, watch this. Because I think y'all might have missed what he said here. Watch this.
Discussion on the whole, because the economy is pretty trash right now, people are losing their jobs, or they're just going stir crazy from being cooped up at home all the time. And people want stuff. People want privilege. And that's really...
He said people want stuff. He's trying to tell us we want stuff. We want privilege.
The only means of survival that they have. And you just start blaming other people for your position. And you just take on the victim mentality, the victim mindset. And you start saying, it's because I was born in this way. It's because you're being racist against me. It's because people are not being fair to me. And you just start blaming everybody else out there and saying, the world owes me something. Because if you think about it, really, there are so many other minorities out there that have been discriminated against, right? For example, Middle Eastern people, Native Americans, they're probably being discriminated even more so than Black people. In fact, if you take a look at Black people, they have it pretty good when you consider we've had a Black president. In the NBA, it's all Black people. We have these huge blockbuster movies like Black Panther, which are entirely Black casts of people. You've got Black people represented in movies, music. Almost every single big Hollywood movie has several Black people in there. And then when you take a look at, well, where are the Asian people in these places? Where are the Native Americans, Indians, Middle Eastern, Italians, Filipinos, and all the other types of people who compose up of America? Where are they? And I know that you can say, well, Black people have been slavery in the US.
Y'all listen.
Well, you take a look at these other races, like take a look at Japanese people. They were war prisoners in the US.
Speaking of Japanese people, should I tell them, family? This fella who says that we think we're owed something, that we just want privilege, he mentions the Japanese in America. Should I tell him, family? Let's talk about it. Here's a piece from this year, just a few months ago, in March, entitled "The Unlikely Story Behind Japanese Americans' Campaign for Reparations." Do you all see this title from March of this year? I'm reading to you from a piece from NPR. The link is in the chat. The unlikely story behind Japanese Americans' campaign for reparations. He shall remain nameless for the show today. The unlikely what? Story, since he wants to bring up the Japanese, behind Japanese Americans' campaign for reparations. Look at these Japanese Americans here, this picture. Anybody look like they're screaming right there? Does anybody, do any of their clothes look like they're tattered, ripped up? Does anybody there look traumatized? I'm not belittling anybody's experience. I'm going to make a comparison, which is impossible to really do. Y'all play too much. You play too much. Y'all see that? That's a picture of people of Japanese descent waiting in line for their assigned homes at an internment camp reception center in California. Did you all hear what I just said? Listen, family. Keep liking and sharing, family. Thank you so much for tuning in, dear family, to the Vicki Show. I'm here weekdays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here on FlyNubianQueenTV.com. I'm doing a brief show today. I've got to get ready for my mastermind class here in a little bit, and I got some medical stuff to do so that I can show up ready to go in a little bit. Because I got some stuff to take care of here in a minute. So make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. If you're interested in my mastermind class, please go to clubvicki.com, clubvicki.com. It starts at 9 p.m. Eastern each Wednesday evening. Listen, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th of 1941 marked the United States' official entrance into World War II. It also pushed the U.S. government's legacy of anti-Asian sentiment to its most extreme. Franklin D. Roosevelt signed an executive order that authorized incarcerating people of Japanese descent based on the widespread suspicion that they were acting as espionage agents. The belief, it says here, was baseless, but that didn't stop the War Relocation Authority from rounding up more than 100,000 people, 2/3 of whom were U.S. citizens, and detaining them in crowded barracks surrounded by barbed wire fence. That's what they're doing here, getting assigned to their homes. Listen, I'm skipping through. It's talking about the Civil Rights Organization's National Redress Director of the Japanese American Citizens League, known as JACL, their fight to get reparations is what the next few paragraphs are talking about. It says, but that fight came with significant resistance, not just from the American public at large, but from the Japanese American community itself, the book discusses. It talks about when the conflict occurred, but then it goes on to say, watch this. It says, the Nisi generation, who were born between 1910 and 1930 to immigrant parents, and the Sansei, who were either incarcerated at a very young age or born after the war, to process the trauma of the camps, it says, the generation The Nisi generation embraced traditional values that encouraged them to put the past behind them. What's known as to endure or persevere with dignity, right? It talks about some other miscellaneous stuff here too, but listen. Ultimately, the JACL and the Japanese American community as a whole came together over a collective obligation to uphold American ideas, he writes. Finally, in 1988, are y'all listening? A decade after the campaign began and over 40 years after the internment camps closed, President Ronald Reagan, that Ronald Reagan, who had everything to do along with Nixon, with the anti-black war, the war on drugs, which we know was a war on black people. He signed the Civil Liberties Act, which offered, are y'all ready? A formal apology and paid $20,000 to each survivor. When you read through their stories, family, particularly this piece, it doesn't say their families were destroyed. It didn't say they were denied their God, their land. None of them were set on fire or lynched. It says that some of them lost some of their jobs temporarily and some of their businesses temporarily. And years later, outsiders who now lecture us and invoke the Japanese in saying that some of the other immigrants and minority groups had it worse than black folk, the devil is a liar. I'm reminded of the book that I read to you yesterday that's called How White Folks Got So Rich. You can get it. The link will probably be in the chat here in a little bit. But there's another place you can get this too at noirg.org. noirg.org. Watch this. Watch this. He said, don't forget. He says that we think we're owed something. As it's written on page 10 of this beautiful book, it says that the fact is that since the end of legalized slavery, whites, of course we're talking about in America, have cunningly employed every mechanism of government, religion, and private enterprise specifically to hamstring black prospects for success. And some of America's institutionalized injustices were devilishly ingenious. All sectors of American society harmonized to institute a series of affirmative action initiatives that gave white people exclusive material advantages, and none have anything whatever to do with either merit or hard work. By gangster force and wily deception, whites aggressively sabotaged black advancement. I said we're owed everything. They employed domestic terrorism in the form of lynching and mob violence while simultaneously crafting policies and laws to gift themselves a vast assortment of privileges, preferences, incentives, subsidies, tax breaks, grants, awards, discounts, exemptions, credits, quotas, deductions, and countless other benefits, hoarding the nation's vast resources along strictly racial lines. Nothing, it says, has been more profitable than racism. Not platinum, not gold, not oil. Thumbs up, family. Keep liking and sharing. I'm almost done. We're owed, as this book mentions, from some estimates, from $5 to $22 trillion. So I want to be very clear to some of you immigrant groups that want to come to this country and call yourself lecturing us. We are uncheckable always and forever. You are just a tool an honorary white supremacist who is an acceptable, an adorable, a controllable collaborator for our open enemy. When I say doable, I mean you'll do. Nobody feels that you are more threatening than us. There's no people on the planet that white folks fear more than black people. So how dare you tell us to get over it while you receive reparations, some of your people, the Japanese. And then you come over here to lecture us about getting over all of these injustices while you participate in them. When I mention our dear sister, Latasha, I don't want you to forget her face. Say her name. When I mention, there's her picture right here. When I mention our dear sister Latasha Harlings, somebody talk black to me. Give me just a second to pull her picture back up. When I mention this beautiful dear sister, you all killed her. You come and murder us. You disrespect us. You exploit and take advantage of us in our neighborhoods. And then you have the nerve to lecture us after you murder us. Your other proud immigrant child, Daniel Hartsclaw, what a name. He comes to this country. Is that right? Daniel Hartsclaw, one of your own, comes to this country, our country that we built. As a police officer, what made him decide he wanted to be a police officer? It said he specifically targeted black folk. When you followed the trial and you followed the story, you found in testimony and what the investigation showed is that he knew that if he targeted black women, especially if they had any kind of brush with the law in the past, he knew, and this is what came out during the trial, that they would be less likely to be believed. And that's even evident, even though he got convicted of some charges, he wasn't convicted of all charges. And besides that, it took him forever for them to even do anything. Because don't forget, he was under investigation when they said when he committed half of the other crimes that he was convicted of 6 weeks prior. So you guys come here and rape us, kill us, steal from us, and then you wag your finger in our faces and tell us that we just want privilege and that we think we're owed something. Let's be clear, we don't think we're owed anything. We know it. And America is going to give it up. And every single one of you are going to join in. Because this is our country. It's our blood. It's our labor. And I want to let the Democratic Party know. I want to let the Republican Party know. And most importantly, white supremacy in general. Whatever label you choose to use. You're going to cut the check. America is experiencing the hell that she's experiencing because of the mistreatment of God's chosen people. Are y'all hearing me today? You are experiencing, America, everything that you're going through because of the mistreatment of God's people. Watch this. Watch this. Thumbs up, family. Thumbs up. Keep liking and sharing. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. Follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. Follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. How many of y'all remember a couple of days ago? And I'm done because I got to go. Got to get some medical stuff done. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to show up for my class tonight. At clubvicki.com for my mastermind class. Clubvicki.com. Watch this. How many of you all remember a few days ago, I shared with you a testimony from some untold stories of our Black Marines in Asia? How many of you all remember that in the 70s? Listen.
But they want us to wear skinhead, what they call it, high and tight. High and tight. It's not my culture. Am I right or wrong? They come over here.
Listen closely.
They get, all right, a Vietnamese girl. She called me a nigga. A Vietnamese girl. I know it's not part of their language. Can't nobody tell me it's part of their language. But I'm going to go over here. The beast, you know that. See, we go over here. We fight. Okay, we fight to defend the water we drink, the land we grow our food on, and our way of culture. We also fight to protect Rockefeller's foundations. We fight to protect J.B. Kennedy's foundation, all these different kind of foundations that the black man can't partake of, you understand? And then we go back, we continuously harass. It's not necessary. This ain't what we heard. This is what we know. See, we've seen it from the bird's eye point of view. We are the people here now. See? We see it now. This ain't what we heard. You know. Now, just like you.
Y'all might have missed what he said in the beginning. Did y'all hear what our brother said when they was fighting in Asia and he was showing respect to the Asian people over there? What did our brother just tell us?
Afro. This is an afro right here. Or somewhat of an afro. It's not big, no. But they want us to wear skinhead, what they call it, high and tight. High and tight. It's not my culture. Am I right or wrong? They come over here, they get, all right, a Vietnamese girl. She called me a nigga. A Vietnamese girl. I know it's not part of their language. Can't nobody tell me it's part of their language. But
y'all over there, come on, somebody talk black to me. When these soldiers are showing you respect and stuff, he said, what, the beast, America, who they're allegedly there to serve on behalf of. Y'all over there, not calling white soldiers that, but you calling black soldiers the N-word. Somebody talk black to me. You ain't checking us, baby. I got to get ready to go, y'all. Y'all know there was so much more that I can say, but I had to just get that out there because my blood was boiling. Don't make me go get the black samurai. I said, don't make me go get this black samurai. We don't have no Mr. Miyagi's. I'm tired of telling y'all that. Black family, we don't have no Mr. Miyagi's. You will not come over here and disrespect us. Not in this day, not in this time. We love all people. I love all people. And my goal is to respect all people. And being a mother of civilization. But you're not finna get out of line and act like you finna lose your mind, baby. Because we're being real clear during this war on who, what side you on. So you got your desperate white supremacists sitting there putting out these Asian people now. It's not by accident, family. They're intentionally putting these folks, they're seeding these people out there to get us to relax our demand for reparations. They're putting these people out there to say you Negroes aren't the only ones that's been through something. Everybody around the world knows that nobody has experienced the type of inhumane treatment like we have for as long as we have. Everybody knows that. So they're trying to normalize or equalize everybody else's suffering so that they're not held accountable and so that they're not identified as the beasts that they're behaving and acting as. You're not getting off, baby. That's exactly right, Maven. Buffer classes to distract. But we are clear. We are focused. We are unflinching. We're on purpose. And we're in it for the long haul, family. We're just getting started. God is with us. Cut the check. We don't think we're owed nothing. We know it. And Black family, when they say it, you better do it unapologetically. Speak with plain words. And let me say this too. Y'all not about to get too many more of these kinds of shows to educate you on what you ought to already know. Most of you all know this anyway. It's a mercy that I'm even giving you this information right now. Because Black folks getting ready to go silent on you. Did you hear what I just said? Black folks getting ready to stop talking. Y'all know I'm all about righteousness, justice. But Black folks, we getting ready to stop talking. We don't owe you an explanation. We don't owe y'all nothing. Quite the opposite. You owe us. Love y'all, family. Shorter show today. Gotta get ready to go. Gotta take care of my health really quick. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to show up in a little bit. Clubvicki.com. Clubvicki.com for my mastermind class. Love you to pieces. Can't wait to see you later in the week, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Don't forget, sometimes I go a little early during the week. So make sure that you're subscribed to FlyNubianQueenTV.com and that you hit to receive all notifications. So that way you'll be abreast of when I go live, as well as the other queens, because I'm not the only queen here. That's when they do send the notifications out. Again, meet me on Twitter at Dillard Vicki, my last name first on Twitter, and then meet me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. Most importantly, I want you to check out our store at shopfnq.com, shopfnq.com, and our business school, flynubianbusiness.com. I love you. I came to you in peace. Mwah. I leave you in peace.